Hey there, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Rachel Garceau with your First Alert Weather Plus forecast. We're getting right to the impacts we're tracking this week because we do have First Alert weather conditions for Monday and Tuesday due to the possibility of record-challenging, even record-setting heat. Another round. Here we go. Upper 90s to 100 degrees will bring some high impacts, especially if you have to spend any extended time outdoors early in the work week. On Wednesday, temperatures will drop, but the front coming in that will drop those temperatures will likely trigger some isolated thunderstorms that will also have an impact on outdoor activities and has us watching the potential of some fire danger with those lightning strikes that could accompany the storms. First, though, let's talk about the temperatures. The heat, it'll be dangerous Monday and Tuesday simply because we are not accustomed to it this early in the season. Remember, we wrapped up May with that record-setting 100 degrees, and while I don't have Boise getting to 100 in the next couple of days, some portions of the Treasure Valley could see triple-digit readings, and regardless, this is unusually toasty for early June, almost 20 degrees above normal for most spots. And I did mention that high fire danger. We have been very dry. We're coming off an abnormally dry May. We've had no measurable precipitation at all in the month of June so far, so something to be mindful of. Also, if you plan on grilling outdoors in the coming days, mind those embers. Any little spark that gets carried on the wind can light a fire, which can travel very quickly with the dry ground we have out there right now. All right, let's talk about temperatures for Monday. A lot of numbers here, I know, but the takeaway is that places like Boise, Emmett, Twin Falls, and McCall all within record territory on Monday. Whether or not we'll actually get there remains to be seen, but still we could see triple digits in places like Emmett on Monday, and then we'll play that on repeat on Tuesday. Upper 90s across the Boise area, triple digits expected in places like Emmett. That would tie a record for Emmett on Tuesday the 10th. Twin Falls looks likely to set a new record high for June 10th on Tuesday, and even in McCall with those mid-80s, we have records that will be challenged, tied, or potentially set on Tuesday. So that's the bad news as far as the heat goes. The good news is it doesn't last all that long, but it does come with a bit of a give and take on Wednesday with those storms coming in. So to back it up to Monday and Tuesday, heat advisory in place for the lower valley, not the upper Treasure Valley, which is Boise eastward, simply because temperatures will be just a skosh warmer west of Boise, but still it is going to be very hot across our entire area. So mind your 3 S's. Stay hydrated, seek out shade as often as possible, and slather on that sunscreen if you are going to be outdoors in the sun, especially if you're swimming. Make sure you reapply the sunscreen and drink a lot of water very often. And it's not just us here in southwest Idaho dealing with the extreme heat across the entire Pacific Northwest. We see some heat advisories in place. This is mostly for Monday from the Seattle area along the I-5 corridor through Portland all the way down into Medford, Oregon, and even Northern California. Heat advisories in place for temperatures in the mid-80s to mid to upper 90s. This is so hot for these areas. Remember, many homes don't have central air conditioning in the Seattle area because they just don't get heat like this very often. So imagine 90 degrees with no AC, and overnight temperatures aren't going to drop far enough to offer much relief. So that's why there's heat advisories in place there. In central Washington, we also have a fire weather warning for Tuesday because of just how dry it is. Same concerns as here. When you get any little spark on top of that dry vegetation, fires can spread very quickly. All right, let's talk specific forecast temperatures for Monday. We talked about our upper 90s in the Boise area, low 90s in the Magic Valley, mid 80s in our mountain locations. Lewiston could see triple-digit readings to kick off the work week. Same with Medford, Oregon, Redding, California. There's those toasty temperatures along the I-5 corridor and the Pacific Northwest. On Tuesday, you can see along the west coast, the heat starts to back off just a bit. Seattle into the low 80s, Portland out of the 90s into the upper 80s. We hold steady, though, here in the Boise area in the upper 90s. It takes until Wednesday to really see some relief from that extreme heat. McCall hits the upper 60s. Boise at 87, still much warmer than normal, but more bearable than 97 degrees for sure. And get used to this 87 because we will hold steady after this in the upper 80s all the way for the rest of the work week and into the weekend. So an abnormally hot stretch coming our way, but at least out of the 90s starting for the middle of the week. The trade-off, though, with the cool down coming in on Wednesday is that we will likely have some thunderstorm activity, especially in the mountains. Here we are looking ahead from McCall into the upper 60s, a very refreshing day temperature-wise, but we're watching lightning strikes, rumbles of thunder, small hail, downpours of rain, and gusty outflow winds favoring the mountains, but possible everywhere during the day Wednesday as a front rolls through. Even Tuesday, as that front approaches from the west, there is a possibility of some isolated showers and storms. I don't think the rain will be measurable in most most places on Tuesday. We could finally see measurable rain on Wednesday as that front rolls through. All right, so let's talk about what's coming in for Long Valley, West Central Mountains area in general. So we'll stay in the 80s Monday, Tuesday, dropping to the upper 60s to around 70 degrees on Wednesday with those storms coming in. Storm activity eases on Thursday as that system eases off to the east, and then we just hold steady in those mid 70s with a mostly sunny sky in the mountains heading into the weekend. Beautiful for campers after you get through that storm activity on Wednesday. Twin Falls area, it'll be hot. Low 90s Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday is a first alert weather day for Twin Falls because of the possibility of setting that record of 93 degrees. A little bit stormy Wednesday as that front comes in. Then look at our temperatures. Upper 80s every single afternoon from Wednesday through Sunday with scorching sunshine overhead. Twin Falls is normally at a very comfortable 75 as we head into the middle of June. So this is an unusually hot stretch. And here in the Boise area, that forecast looks almost identical, except much hotter Monday, Tuesday. Record challenging heat with those first alert weather conditions Monday, Tuesday. A little less hot Wednesday with those storms and wind coming in the afternoon. The storms go away on Thursday. Sunshine sticks around, and we will hover up near 90 degrees with blazing sun every afternoon all the way through Sunday. This is your First Alert Weather Plus forecast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.